Hello everyone, today let's look at Loke BattleMats. This one's the big one, but later we'll look at the giant one too. So this is 58 pages of battle maps. They're kind of pairs.
Let's have a look at the back quickly. So, you've got quite a few here. So that's just what they all look like. They are all double pages. Now, one to point out, at the back, you do have a plain one. So, that is where you can draw on. But there are everything from a coastline, lava, town squares, another part of a town, maybe sort of a docky area, but there's maybe the inside of a tavern there, buildings, odder buildings, throne rooms, loads of different ones. You really do have so many different varieties. Particularly like this one because, with the gravestones, but the curved path, I think it really gives it a very nice effect. Now, when playing, you do have the ring binder down the middle. There's no way of getting around that. But if you have a look, let's angle it like that, you can see that those squares either side are, they are bigger. So they are going to be perfect for your mini. So let's just get a nice little mini and, okay, it's maybe a small one. So it's not the best example. Let's get, a proper mini. There we go. They are looking absolutely fine moving about. Even with that, you obviously do just have to sort of jump over a little bit. So this could be a scenario, you've got your tiefling and your turtle. It's a druid, but we're going to use it sort of a mage in this case, and with just a whiteboard pen, you can draw out, so you can work out your ranges and say maybe, that's the cone there. You can just literally rub it straight off. It's this is an old pen, so it doesn't work too well to show up too well. But you could definitely get a nice new pen. But this just shows you can sort of go, okay, that's your line of sight. You're not hitting the snake in your cone, but maybe at least one of these are going to die or perish. Or at least take damage, so you need to start rolling. You can use that, I think, as a visual aid, and also if you really wanted to, you can sort of say, look, this is where you need to get to. This crate over here, that's what you've been tasked to pick up, and you can then draw sort of extra barricades in, saying no, that's a wall there. If we clear that quickly and flick through to a white map, if you've got this here and you're sort of saying, okay, anything here in a cone, you can see, let's have a look, let's zoom there. You can really see how clear that pops up. So last time we looked at the big battle mats, but there's a giant one. Now this is a volume 1 big book and it's a volume 2 giant book. So you can get a giant version of this. You can also get a small or a big version of this. So straight away you'll see a 4-sized, a 3-size, and you're also going to get more pages. So in the big book that we looked at last time, that's only 58 pages, and that constitutes 29 maps, whereas this one's going to have 31. So, it's a fair size. And again, like with the back of the big one, this has a very blank back page. So if I just grab the pen, this is where you really can draw your maps. So, there's the cavern, that's where you're going to have to follow. And then, you put your staircase there, and your staircase on this side, and then it opens up over here. So you can really use that as you see fit, and just like with the other one, so I'm just using a quick sort of quite bad whiteboard pen. easily wipe that off. So, you know, we've got to that room and maybe the boulder closes the doorway. I'm just using my thumb, so, you know, you can wipe this off a much better way. Then you could redraw on this side. They'd be coming into this part of the room. Now, what I really like about this, other than some of these beautiful maps, is the fact that you can use them together. So, at the moment, let's just have a look at some of these just to give you an idea. So there was the lava map in the last one, and we'll use this one as an example. Now, if we just slide that over so we can see, now if I get the lava map from the big book, so pages 55, 56, now it doesn't quite match up. Now it may match up if you're using the same volumes, so I don't know if that's, you know, a thing for me, just because I've got one from volume 1 and one from volume 2. But if I put them next to each other at the edge with a little bit of a sort of a squidging of the where the rings are, you can really line these up so that you've got a continuous map. Now, yes, you do have to sort of work it with it a little bit. You know, so that rock's there. We just shade this in here. I'm doing it with my left hand, so it's going to look awful. You know, maybe we do a bit here, and all of a sudden, you know, we've linked those lava bits together. And you could, you know, draw a little bit over here and just sort of eat into one map, eat into the other, trying to sort of match the two together. And I think that's a really great feature of having these. Again, probably if you had the same volume, so volume 1, volume 2, I would assume, I do not know, that if you had one, the big book and the giant book of the same volume, they probably would match up a little bit better. The other thing to notice, it's probably more obvious on the small one actually, but the edges are not full squares. So it does mean, a bit like when you're on the ring binder bit, you do have to sort of extend a square. It's not a huge problem, and you can kind of balance mini, so you know you can have it kind of like that. But if you are using something that's a bit bigger, so I'm just going to use a trapper because that's what I've got to hand. You know, there is a bit of an overflow. There's also a bit of a problem if they're on the edge, and I think that's the better thing about the giant one. You've got less of that. You know, you've got a huge room. If you really need to, you can just use half of this. So let's just flick through so you can see a few more. But say we were only looking at the inside part of a castle. You could definitely just use that. And I keep wanging it down because I think it makes an amazing sound. But you know, you've got that, and then maybe you have just something kind of simple next to it. You know, some something you can sketch on here where the doorway is, or you know, maybe there's not lava, but maybe there is, let's say, a bit of a hallway. You know, so then you could start to say, well, actually, this is your entrance way here, actually, and you know, you come through, you're in this courtyard area, and then you jump over and you're inside. So maybe there you draw a doorway on here. Again, I'm doing with this left hand, so please bear with me. We'll just say, you know, that's a doorway, you know, that's the way it swings open. So doorway here, and then you're going to be inside this courtyard area where you've got some rooms, a little pool area over here, you know, so you can use the books together. I think that's what I'd show them really as. You can buy them separately, but by getting more than one, not only do you have more variety, but you can actually start to link them. Out of the two, if you have the room, the giant one is probably the one to go for. The giant one has loads of different locations. So let's just move that one out the way and I can flick through while I'm sort of discussing them. So, you know, from just grass, you know, just sort of cracked cobbly stones, tree stumps and stuff like that. you really do get an idea, and they do stick together quite a bit, but it's not too bad now. I've used it a few times. And just like with the small one, you can start to say, this is a bush, so you can't go through that unless or it's hard terrain. Maybe something's hidden in there or something like that. I'd say the bigger one is better. Why? Well, you get all of this room. If you're putting something large in, and maybe a trapper's not the best. Let's throw in the. You can see more about that on my unboxing of this tree folk. You can see that actually that's not taking up a huge amount of room of this entire board. And you can start throwing in another large right next to it. This is probably one of my favourite things to do. The trapper popping up out of the ground and grabbing someone. But, it's not using much of the overall space. Now, when you're actually talking about on the big book, you're only having this much room, and then there's the binder down the middle. So, you can sort of say that piece there, not usable. All of a sudden, these taking up that much room is starting to fill your battlefield quite a bit more. Not hugely, the big book is still good, but, you're going to get less in there, and that's only those. So, as soon as you start going above large, you get a dragon down, you're going to need the full double A3 experience almost to be able to fit that in. And I think that's what this book is for. It's for a full journey through a cave system. It's for, a good chunk of a sort of maybe a castle there with a back entrance. This almost just by flicking through, you can start thinking of how you could use these. You can sort of say, you've come across this. Do you march in the front door? Do you try and come through this cave and see where it takes you? You've gone through the castle entrance we saw earlier, and this is where you arrive. All of a sudden, you've got a huge amount of room for fights to explore. Maybe this is just a little storeroom, or maybe you put a jail cell door here, and all of a sudden you're breaking someone out, or maybe you shouldn't break them out for whatever reason. Maybe they're not so nice. Absolutely lovely quality. I think it will get used a lot on a variety of campaigns because of the sort of the various stuff. So overall, really enjoying these battle mats. So this was the giant one. Oh, there, that's not even the front cover. The giant battle maps from Loke BattleMats. This is volume 2, so obviously there is a volume 1 and volume 2. I think they do sort of a few other accessory pieces as well that go with it. There you go, you can see sort of the whole front and back cover. Now, if you want to see other stuff, well, you can also look at some glorious dice up sets that I've unboxed on the channel, so be sure to check other content out. Thank you very much for watching. Remember, like, subscribe, and all that jazz.